Hey guys, Scope here, and welcome to my new LP. Created by Konami Computer Entertainment Japan, of course, and I'm going to let you sit back and watch the intro. A card, my kingdom for a card. Let's watch. Oh shit. Oh shit, it's Yu-Gi-Oh baby. Yeah. And that's it, guys. This is indeed, if you haven't guessed it by now, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist of the Roses. The Duelists of the Roses. And this is my next LP. So, many of you may not know about this game because, like Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories, it's kind of a semi-unheard of title. You know, there's quite a few Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans out there to begin with, but then once you get into the Yu-Gi-Oh! Fans, not many of them have played the Duelist of the Roses. Which is sad because this is a great game. I actually like Forbidden Memories more. Forbidden Memories is my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! Game, but Duelist of the Roses is pretty good. And in case you were wondering, Duelist of the Roses is the technical sequel to Forbidden Memories, because in Japan, Forbidden Memories was called Yu-Gi-Oh! Shin Duel Monsters Forbidden Memories. And then the Japanese title for this game was Yu-Gi-Oh! Shin Duel Monsters 2 Succeeded Memories. So this is essentially the sequel, although it is vastly different in many ways. And the entire gameplay in this game is so different that it's not even close at all. But the real reason I enjoy this game is because it actually is more of a history lesson than anything. Because this game is actually focused on real events that happened in the real world, and they replaced real-world characters with characters from the manga or the anime. And I really like that fact. But anyway, we'll get more into that when we start. Anyway, when you press start here, you've got a few options. Custom duel, you can pretty much just duel, between two people on memory cards or whatever. Trade, you can trade between two people on memory cards, obviously. And then, of course, continue and a new game. So we're going to be starting a new game. Let's do it. I don't think we have to watch the intro again, but if we do, I'm not too sad about that. Oh yeah, I love this loading screen, by the way, how just like, all the cards bounce up on the screen. I always wonder, like, oh, how many cards can go by before the loading finishes? Oh no, it's not a new one. There's going to be a ton of text here, so I don't know if I'm going to read all of it, but I'll try my best. British Empire in the 1480s. The War of the Roses, a power struggle between the houses of Lancaster, the Red Rose, and York, White Rose, to decide a royal successor was nearing the end. The Yorkists well in the lead. The reign of Richard III was but a step away. And as you may notice, Richard III looks a lot like Hai Shin from Forbidden Memories. Oh, yep, that's who he's based off of. And in France, Yugi, or Henry Tudor, the last Lancastrian heir, was being forced to live a life of exile. So it looks like the Lancastrians, or Yugi side here, Henry Tudor, is being forced to live a life of exile. He's the last heir to the throne. And Richard III is taking over in England. Or Britain, British Empire, I don't know. The Lancastrian forces were rendered powerless by ancient cards of sorcery, wielded by Seto and his 7 followers who, known as the Rose Crusaders, served under the flag of the Lord Crawford, a powerful Yorkist nobleman. So Lord Crawford is Pegasus, as you just saw there. His name is actually Pegasus Crawford. And so he's pretty much helping the Yorkists, which is the side of Richard III. And apparently Seto is leading the forces here. Crawford is their leader, and Seto, along with his Rose Crusaders, is pretty much just trampling all over Yugi's forces. This is some epic intro music, by the way. Lacking a duelist to champion their cause, defeat was imminent for the Lancastrains. In England, duel card games were still at the fledgling stage. Fledgling? Thus, the Lancastrains had to look elsewhere for a duel master capable of facing the Rosencrews in battle. Rosencrews is Seto's name in this game, by the way. Seto, the leader of the Rose Crusaders, is C. Rosencrews, or Seto Rosencrews. With this in mind, Margaret by Beaufort of Lancaster secretly requested a High Druid to summon a duelist from another age. And that is, of course, my Valentine, as you noticed. Or Margaret's my Beaufort. And the smoke finally clears. Holy shit, it's Stonehenge! Oh, look at that. What the hell? Oh, look, it's Simon! We remember you.
Oh! Summoned from Mystic Circle of Red and White Roses, the one capable of harnessing pure power.
By the way, I'm going to be using a lot of British accents in this, or English accents in this LP, because they're in freaking England. What can I do, man?
There was truth to the legend of the Rose Duelist.
The Rose Duelist? Is that me?
Lady Margaret, I did it! Now we have the means for defeating the evil forces of Rosencrews. Oh, my apologies. In my excitement, I've forgotten I was in the presence of the Rose Duelist. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Simon McMurrin, High Druid and Servant of Lancaster.
Alright, so it looks like he's a servant of Yugi's side here, and they summoned me. He's a High Druid. I guess that's like some kind of priest. So apparently Mai was requesting this guy to help and try to summon the Rose Duelist, which it looks like it was successful.
May I be so bold as to ask the name by which the Rose Duelist would like to be known?
Oh, we get to choose our name here. Now, this is very, very important. Just your name will change everything in the game as you know it. Konami was very clever here, and they actually made your name matter. Depending on what name you put, it's randomly determined. Well, it's not random. If you put in the same name, you're going to get the same things every time, but it's determined by your name what deck leaders you're going to get. And deck leaders, you don't know what that is, but pretty much just think of it like this. Depending on what name you pick, you get a choice of 3 decks, and you're going to get a choice of 3 random decks depending on what name you put in. So if you want good decks, I suggest you put in names like Konami or Yugi, Seto. You'll get really good names. Now, of course, I had to go and mess around with this before I actually started playing it and putting in names I would normally put for my LP to see which one yielded a good deck leader that I want. And actually, if we put in our name as Scope, in all capitals, we'll get some good decks. So that's actually good. It's almost like the game knew me, man. So Scope is our name, all capitals.
Scope, a fine name indeed.
Well, thank you. Unlike Naburu, who never appreciates the name you got.
Now, here's the situation. The year is 1485, and you are currently in Stonehenge, near Salisbury, England.
Ooh, Salisbury, home of the steak. That's what I'm talking about. So yeah, we're in Stonehenge. The year is 1485, and we're in Salisbury, England. That is definitely farther back than... Well, it's not as far back as Forbidden Memory, so it looks like we're making progress in that fact. The British Empire is in turmoil. House of the Lancasters. Yes, we've heard of this. Challenged by the Yorkist usurpers. I love that word, usurpers. The power struggle is referred to as the War of the Roses, a name based on the badges used by both sides. A red rose for the Lancastrians and a white rose for the Yorkists. So as you can see next to Simon's name there, it has the little picture of the red rose. So yeah, that symbolizes the Lancastrians, which is Yugi's side. And the white rose will symbolize the Yorkist, or Richard III and Seto's side. And Pegasus and all those dudes.
Right now, our kingdom is threatened by the Yorkists and their wrongful claim to the throne. All because the Yorkists enjoy the support of the Rose Crusaders and the Sorceress White Rose cards. Using our red rose cards, we summoned you, Scope, to this day and age. We hoped that your dueling experience would defeat the Rose Crusaders and lead us to victory. So apparently we are the Rose Duelists, and we've been summoned from some kind of different age. I don't know which age, but apparently we are supposed to have this dueling premise that, surpasses all these guys. You will help us. Of course you will. Foolish of me to even doubt where your loyalties lie. Rumor has it that only the legendary Rose Duelists stand a chance against the power of Rosencrews.
Well, what if I'm a descendant of Rosencrews, huh? You're gonna feel pretty stupid then, aren't you?
We appreciate any help you can provide against them. Before I forget, I should warn you that the rules to dueling differ here. than those of your age. Here in England, dueling is governed by what is known as the perfect rule. In addition to several minor distinctions, there are two major differences. One is the existence of the movement or positioning, the other is the deck leader concept. Yeah, and these were lost in the process when the ancient sport of duel monsters was adapted to card form. Yeah, that's right, because it's not card form here. Here, it's real shit, like, monsters really duel. This is no cards. The perfect rule represents the lost rules that were miraculously revived here in England. Perhaps a practice duel will serve better than an explanation, shall we? This practice duel is actually really tedious and kind of boring, so I'm not going to do it. But once we get into our first actual duel, I'll go into extreme detail about this whole perfect rule and deck leader concept. It's really complicated, but I should be able to explain it pretty easily, so we'll just skip it for now. Let's get on with the story. First, Scope, you must select a deck to duel with. It is important that you feel the vibrations of a deck leader. Oh, I'll feel the vibrations, alright. Smooth vibrations. The minute resonations that ring true to your soul. The cards themselves draw the power from the energy of the Ancient Ones. The deck leader acts as an intermediate between the Ancient Ones and the deck wielder. Scope, it is essential that you select a card leader whose rhythm matches the stirrings of your soul! Here are several decks from which to choose. Give it some serious thought and make your selection. Choose carefully. Yeah, pretty much choose your deck carefully because this is the deck you'll be using throughout the whole game. Alright, so from choosing the name Scope, we get three options here. We either get Serpentine Princess as our deck leader, Air Knight Parshath, or King Tiger Wonku. Now, as you can see on the left there, it says an average summon level, so pretty much what that determines is how much the average levels of the monsters are. And generally, the higher, the better. That means you're going to have stronger monsters. But also to the right there, you can see the main attributes. For example, this one is Water, Dark, and I believe that's Ground. Yeah, and this one's Light. What is that one? Light, Warrior, something, and Water. Water, Dark, Ground, yeah. Looks like these two have the same ones. They just switched the... Anyway, and it also shows the main races there. This one's got reptile or dinosaur, dragon, looks like magician there, and water. I don't know. Anyway, the one we are going to be picking, which is actually a really good deck that I'm pretty familiar with, is the Air Knight Parshath deck. It doesn't really matter these guys attack because you're not going to be using your deck leader too often to attack. But Air Knight Parshath has a summon level of 3.47, pretty powerful. We've got light monsters in here, water. Mainly it's warrior monsters, as you can see on the second one there. We've also got some winged beasts. So this deck is actually really good, and I enjoy it. So we're going to use Air Knight Parshath. Let's do it. I see you've selected your deck. So that's the effect of the Celtic Rose cards. Looks like there's some truth to the rumor that red rose cards are capable of time transformation. Who's there? Oh shit, and cue like the best music in the game. It's been some time since the Battle of Barnay, old Moen. Rosencruz, what brings you here? Only a member of the Rose Crusaders may call me by that name. If you may recall, I told you once before that you may only address me as Seto. Or does memory fail you, old man? And you must be the dreaded Rose Duelist. I must admit, there's a certain aura of power emanating from you, but screw your aura, I have money. I believe an introduction is in order. I am Seto, leader of the Rose Crusaders. There are members of our little group who prefer to call me by the name of C. Rosencruz. Yeah, and C actually stands for, what is it? Because that was the actual name of the Yorkists leader in the 1485 War of the Roses. It was like Charles Rosencruz or something like that. That was his actual name. I ask you again, what brings you here, Seto? Mind your manners, old man. What else would bring you here? I've come for the red rose cards. After all, it was you who showed me how the summoning capabilities would evolve when the red rose cards are combined with the transport powers of the white rose cards. Oh, Seto, you've got quite the breath for that. And by the way, you love his Blue Eyes White Dragon, like, armband thing there? That's pretty epic. You aren't thinking of attempting the forbidden rose summoning? If so, then the red rose cards must never fall into your evil hands. Okay, so apparently Seto wants to do some rose summoning that requires all of the rose cards. What are these rose cards? I don't even know. Card sorcery taps into the powers of the Ancient Ones. By their very nature, each card is a double-edged sword that can be cut both ways. The rose cards can only harness tremendous power. There's no telling what horrors one might unleash to the world by combining both red and white. You fool! I will sacrifice my own life if need to prevent any from uttering the spell of doom. The spell of doom? Fool! The 16 red and white rose cards grant power over all. Druid legend has twisted the true meaning of those cards. Okay, so apparently there's 16 rose cards, 8 white and 8 red. And by collecting all of these, you can supposedly cast the Spell of Doom, which is an ancient summoning ritual that apparently Seto wants to do.
And the Yorkists, or the Lancastrains, sorry, don't really feel too happy about this.
We Rose Crusaders have sworn to create a utopia free of the ravages of war. We intend to accomplish this with the power of the cards. And we shall do so by extending the rule of Richard III throughout the known world. Pfft, come on, dude, what are you thinking? By the way, it was clever of you to form a circle of red roses within the white rose barrier to summon the Rose Duelist. But you were foolish to come alone. This area is surrounded, and if you wish to leave with your life, you will do so only by handing over the res rose cards. Also, apparently we're in Yorkist territory here, because Stonehenge is over in Yorkist territory. So Simon and Mai had to travel all the way over here with all the red rose cards. Very dangerous, just to summon me. So they definitely went out of their way. Me, a fool? Then what about you? Are you fool enough to actually believe the red rose cards will remain here in my possession? Right after the summoning, I had the cards dispersed among our best duelists to keep them from your tainted hands. You grimy bastard! Then you leave me with but one option. I shall enlist the aid of your precious Rose Duelist. You take leave of your senses.
I love that. You take leave of your senses. That's so great.
And you speak too soon, old man. Heed my words, Duelist. If you wish to return to your proper time period, you will require 16 cards of the red and white roses.
So to get back to my time period, which you guys summoned me from, I've got to collect all the 16. I need the 16 cards. So pretty much I've got to be on the side with the 16 cards, is what you're saying.
The red and white positions must be laid out in reverse of the summoning order to send you home. You know the spell? Since you need the 16 rose cards just as much as we do, I propose a partnership. Help us gather the cards and I shall guarantee your return after we've achieved our ultimate goal. An absurd proposal! Do you think that the Honorable Scope would even lend an ear to your ridiculous proposal? Can you be so sure, old man? Let me see. Simon's side has 8 of the red rose cards, while my side, the Rose Crusaders, has possession of the 8 white rose cards. As the numbers are even, simple arithmetic indicates that you could side with either of us. But I'm sure you'll take into account who's winning this war. After all, who was desperate enough to summon you in the first place? By the way, I love this part of the music. It's so epic. Just bam, 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 bam. This music is actually Seto's theme, by the way. It's pretty epic. I think it's quite clear which side is better positioned to send you home. Scope! Heed not the words of this power-hungry lunatic! Simon, must you resort to name-calling? I'm hurt. I'll tell you what, why don't we leave the decision to our dear Duelist? After all, Simon, the Duelist's future is not for us to decide now, is it? Well, yes, but... Splendid! In keeping with the tradition of the old temple gardens, I offer you a choice, Duelist. Here are 2 roses. The white rose represents me, and the red for old Simon here. For the sake of justice, choose the red rose! Stand by my side, Duelist. Choose the white rose.
Okay, guys, we are presented with a choice. We can actually pick to side with Yugi's side, the Lancastrains, the red rose, or we can side with the Yorkists, who are winning the war, Seto's side, and the white rose Crusaders. So we actually have a choice here. We can side with the bad guys or the good guys, but which side is the bad guys or the good guys? Do we know that yet? I don't know. Anyway, I am going to actually stop the first episode here, and I'm going to leave the decision in the hands of you guys. That's right, this is a Let's Play, so you guys actually are going to decide which side we side with first. Are we going to side with Yugi's side, the Lancastrians, and fight against Seto and the Rose Crusaders to help take back England and help the side that actually summoned us here? Or are we going to side with the Yorkists, C. Rosencrew Seto side, who's winning the war, who actually shows a lot more promise of actually sending us home? And are we going to fight against Yugi and his friends? You guys decide. Leave your comments below of which side you want me to side with. 1 vote per person. I will tally them up, and in episode 2, we will choose which side we're going to side with, the Yorkists or the Lancastrians. I'm Scope, signing off, and I will see you guys next time on Let's Play Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist of the Roses. Bye-bye.